Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's card is going to feature a variety of stamps from Fawn. So I have Fantastic Friends add-on, Furry and Bright, Terrific Day, Yappy Birthday add-on, as well as Yappy Birthday. Those are the two new stamp sets that I'll be using today, as well as Critters in the Dog Park. So off camera, I have already stamped and cut out all of the images that I'm going to use for my card today. Now for the coloring, I have tried to zoom in a little bit more so that if you're interested in actually seeing the coloring process and what it looks like really close, because things sometimes look better further away than they do up really close, you can maybe see it a little bit better. I know my hand's still kind of in the way. Maybe I should have moved my image over just a little bit more, but I'll be playing around with that and trying to get it a little better. This is 4 times the normal speed, so obviously this isn't accurate to how fast I actually color or slow I color. And for these dogs, it is the first time I've colored any of them. I've only used one dog from Critters in the Park, and that was to make Slinky Dog in my Toy Story recreation card. If you're not a fan of coloring, this video is probably not for you, considering I don't think the coloring ends until sometime after 8 minutes, and this is a 12-minute video. So, sorry for that if you guys don't like it, but for those of you who actually want to see the coloring, I guess you'll enjoy this one. For each dog, I tried to give it a slightly different color. I figured the first one could be like a Schnauzer, this one could be like a Golden Retriever, and then I think my next one, what did I make that one look like? A Shiba Inu. Is that how you say that one? I don't actually know. Dog breeds. I always had mutts. Actually, like the last dog I had. He was super awesome. He was half Golden Retriever and half Chow. He was actually smaller than a Golden Retriever, had really long, thick fur, and it was black. He had kind of a short nose and a somewhat curly tail. It was a lot curlier when he was a puppy. But he was super cute and super friendly with children. Like, he loved children. But he was very well behaved, very easy to train, super smart. He was the best dog I ever had. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. I miss him. But I'm allergic to dogs. I'm allergic to cats. I'm pretty much allergic to all animals. Cats are worse for me than dogs. But I'm still allergic. So right now, we are petless. Unfortunately, for my youngest, who wants to befriend every single animal he comes across. For this last little dog, I thought I would maybe try to give him a couple different colors, sort of similar to an Australian Shepherd. Now, I've never had a dog that looked like this, but I think these dogs are really cute. I just like their different colors, and they're so fuzzy. So if you are more of a cat person than a dog person, I do plan on doing some more cat cards, as it hasn't been too terribly long ago that I did get a couple of their cat stamp sets. Alright, so after I have colored the dogs, I'm going to move on. The color combinations you see will be the same. Sometimes I might bring in one extra color, and I might show the colors more than once, as I kind of forgot some of the colors that I used. Alright, so for my balloons, these are the colors I use. I actually have 2 clusters of balloons, and I'm going to try to make them look like they're translucent. So I have extended this teal balloon down into the other 2, and with this yellowy orange balloon, I am also going to extend it over into the one next to it. So this green balloon will have a little bit of the orange in it and a little bit of the teal. This particular way of coloring balloons I'm not super great at, but I am trying. I actually really prefer when you can kind of see through them, or it looks like you can see through them. Quick apologies if you can hear my toddler. He is making a lot of racket right now. He's been sick, so I guess he might be getting over it a little bit, and he's just been super chatty, and now that I'm not in there, he's decided to be loud. So I apologize for that. It's also the middle of the day, so there's road sounds, somebody's mowing their grass, birds chirping, a whole bunch of noise. So if you can hear that, I am sorry. I'd save my voiceovers for later at night, which I usually try to do, but lately I have just been exhausted by the time my child goes to bed, and I actually have some time that I could spend in the quiet doing the voiceovers. For this little doghouse, when I initially seen it, I thought of red. And then I had the fire hydrant, which I haven't shown you yet. I have stamped that from Critters in the dog park. But I thought about that being red too, but I didn't really like red with my teal, yellow, green, and orange color combination, so I decided to bring in blue. Now, one tip for when you're doing a limited color palette, it's generally best if you do not have each color equally represented, because, I don't know, just in my experience, when I've tried to do that, it just doesn't look as cohesive or as good. So you really want to concentrate more on just a couple of the colors and then add the other ones as more of an accent. For my little party hats, I wanted to add some interest to each one of them, so I pulled out my Cricut pens to add lines and dots to each hat. I could have tried to do this with a marker, but I was worried that the patterns wouldn't really be as distinct because markers tend to bleed out some. Same thing with my little gift wrap packages. I wanted them to have a little bit of detail. So same color as the Cricut pens, and I'm just adding some lines and dots to some of the gifts. And then again on my cupcakes, I decided to use the same Cricut pens and make little sprinkles so that each cupcake is slightly different. Once all my images have been colored, I am going to move on to my background. I have this cloud stencil as well as this grass stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to kind of layer them. This one has both the positive and the negative pieces for the grass, so this will work well. I'm going to ink my clouds up with tumbled glass. I did decide to mask off the white scalloped edges around the stitching because I thought it would be a little bit nicer looking if there was the white border. But since these aren't slimline stencils, I did have to kind of creatively put them together. And now for the grass, I'm going to use mowed lawn, and I'm just going to use the opposite end of the grass stencil to get the grass colored in. Now normally this is where I would feel the need for splatter, on this grass, but I opted out of that because I didn't really have the quickest way to mask off the clouds. I didn't need green splatters in the background on the clouds. And now all of my images are just going to be glued flat down. And for anything that overlaps the grass or another image, I am going to color in the white borders of the die cut pieces just because I felt like that looks nicer for this particular card. So I just found similar colors in my markers to kind of go over the different parts. Now for anything that overlapped the sky, I just left it plain because there is plenty of white in the sky, so I didn't really feel like it was super noticeable. Now if this is something you don't want to do, but you prefer the look of the images without the white border, you can always fussy cut them, or if you're blessed enough to have a scan and cut, you could do that without a border. But this worked just fine for me. Another thing that I do is I try to map out where I want all my images and plan the colors for where all the images are going to go. That way I don't have a bunch of orange together or a bunch of teal together or blue or whatever. So if you have a hard time with that, that is something I would recommend before you start working on your card. It has definitely helped me quite a bit. Although I did spend several days looking at these stamped images and not sure what colors to use. My final step before I add this to a card base is to add a little bit of white detail to the balloons just to make them look a little bit more shiny. After that, my card is complete. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back with another video soon. Bye!